Howdy, with this video I'm going to go over the schedule real quickly, then go over the MLA medical essay, and then go over journal number 8. So kind of attacking 3 different things within this essay, but I'm going to go over them fairly quickly. But hopefully everybody's getting the career essay in. It has everything up in LinkedIn. But for Monday, journal 7 and 8 are due. One's journal 7 is you're going to look at a sample essay, make that a little bit bigger. And for number 8, you're going to go to the Northeast State databases, start looking at sources for your medical essay. It's kind of a Jedi mind trick there. That way you have to kind of think about what topics you're doing and kind of get started on that side of it. But for the 22nd, just topics due. This is very important. Some people tend to pick overly broad topics. We want to make sure they're narrowed down so you can do a good research essay within the word count. Don't want you to write your first book on this essay, which is what some people do. If they want to tell about, Alzheimer's disease, that's a huge topic. There's huge books written on it. That's not our goal in this class. This goal is for you to write a fairly short essay and do well at it. But you can kind of see we're going to keep working with the medical essay. It's the last one. The essay is due on Monday the 9th. There's a few reasons there. It seems a little early. But one, we kind of want to finish early. You're probably going to have lots of final exams in your other classes, and those are more pertinent to what you're wanting to do with your life. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that out loud about this class, but we want to finish a little bit early so you can focus on other things. And also, by the time you should be able to prove you can write a fairly decent essay that makes you ready for Comp 1, which is part of the goals for this class. But all late work's due on the 12th. The final exams, just journals 9 and 10, fairly short, easy to, nothing's easy to write, but fairly quick writing. And you'll also be posting your revised graded medical essay and e-portfolio and finishing that out. So hopefully you can focus on the other things you're doing at Northeast State there. Also, sometimes, if we get the blizzard of the century, we might have to push the due dates back and we have a little wiggle room there. But again, this medical essay is the last one. You're going to find the assignment there on the content page under Essay Projects and Assignments under MLA Medical Research Essay. And I've already got it pulled up. So we'll go over that real quickly. For this one, you're going to tell someone's story about a medical topic and insert research into that story. So kind of keep that in mind as you're thinking about a topic. Some people are like, I want to do, brain cancer. Well, like, well, do you know anybody who's had brain cancer? Well, no. It's like, well, then you're dead in the water because you're going to end up telling the story to someone you know or yourself and putting the research into that story. And it doesn't have to be a life or death medical topic. A lot of people are like, well, I've never had, nobody knows I had cancer or anything. Well, good. Yeah, that's good for you. But I've had good ones on teen acne. I've had good ones on peanut allergies, non-lethal peanut allergies, celiac disease, fairly non-life-threatening things, ACL tears, things like that. If you were in sports in high school, you probably know someone with an ACL tear, right? It's just part of the territory. Or concussions is another big one with high school athletes. But you're going to write a 1,200-word minimum narrative research essay, and again, that narrative just means you're telling someone's story on the medical topic of your choice. 1,200 words sounds like a lot, but once you start adding research to it, you're going to get to the word count pretty quickly. And again, one of the tricks to this essay is keeping your topic fairly narrowed so that you're not trying to write your first book. That's generally where students run into problems, where they're 800 words into the essay and they're just getting started and like, wow, how do I'm going to write my first book. How can I limit this? And if that starts happening, we'll work with you there. But about over 50% of the word count should be you telling that person's story, and kind of keep that in mind. And also, we're going to post this in LinkedIn, so make sure you ask that person's permission to post it and things like that. If you really got a good topic and they don't kind of like, I don't know if I want that on the internet, let me know and we'll try and work with you. But we're going to go beyond that 5-paragraph format, which we're already doing already. You're going to use at least 3 authoritative sources other than personal interviews. So if you're going to write about somebody else and you interview them, which you should, that doesn't count as one of your authoritative sources. And you want to try and use at least 2 sources from the Northeast State Library. And after that, it could be any reliable authoritative source. If you're doing something like lung cancer, the American Lung Association might have good sources. The American Cancer Society might have good resources. And we're going to see with the databases they send you to good sites like that. But generally, you should know who wrote the source, and it should be peer-reviewed, meaning other doctors have looked at it and said, "Yeah, this isn't just some wacky theory going on here. This is authoritative, good information." You should have at least 2 images in your essay. That's kind of up to you. For example, if you're talking about an ACL tear, you don't want to spend 5 paragraphs trying to tell me what an ACL is. show me a picture and say, hey, it's this ligament here on the in the knee. Give me an arrow, and I'll go like, oh, okay. Um, Also, you're going to have a long quote, short quote, summary, and paraphrase. Need at least 2 forms of figurative language, which you're going to use anyway, just naturally within this essay. And avoid you. You're not telling the reader how to deal with this problem. You're telling me about someone's experiences, either you or someone you know. And avoid it there. But that's the essay. And sometimes you have to go through a few topics because, especially if you have a healthy family, you kind of sit there going like, oh, man. But I'm surely something. Just the fact that you're alive means your mother went through a fairly major medical event, right? So, kind of think about it a little bit. But again, you're telling someone's story and putting the research into that story. And that's the whole trick to the essay. And you'll see when you do journal number 7 that you're going to be reading about Alzheimer's disease. And you can see one of the struggles she has is she's got kind of a big topic, and she's trying to get all that information and tell the story at the same time. But she does it fairly well within that essay. So for the journal entries, pull those up. For number 7, again, you're going to go to that sample essay that's up there under help resources. Again, you guys kind of see, it's about Alzheimer's. It's not a happy topic, but when she starts telling someone's story, it kind of makes it a little more personal and something you can relate to, right? The other one, I want you to go to the Northeast State databases. I want you to go to that link, and I'll show you exactly what to do here. Sometimes it's easier to see somebody doing this than it is to watch, just read directions. But we're going to go to the Northeast State Library homepage, which is right here. We're going to go to online databases. And all databases are just collections of in this case, essays on medical topics. We're going to go to the H, and we're going to go to health and wellness. One danger with some of this, like if you go to health and medicine, quite often it's doctors writing to doctors, and it gets very technical and hard to follow, and that's not the point here. The health and wellness database is kind of geared towards college and high school students doing research on medical topics, which is us, right? If you're off campus, which you probably are, it's going to ask for your username and password. You might have to go, if you change your D2L password, you might have to go back to your original password. Maybe your birthday in 6 digits, whatever it is. Oh, no. I changed my password. That's why it's doing that. Give me a second. There we go. And you got to be patient with the databases, particularly if you have slow internet. It's going through 1,000 different servers. But there's different ways you can do this. You can come down here and just look at diseases and conditions. That's kind of the easiest one if you have a fairly common condition. One kind of note: sometimes the databases may not have information on your topic. If you're talking about a fairly rare disease, sometimes you won't have that information. That's good to kind of come down here, go to diseases and conditions, and we'll kind of come down here to lung cancer here. And once you pull it up, one, you're going to see an overview of the problem. And also, you'll come down here and you'll see some references entries. And this Gale Encyclopedia of Medicine is a really good source. Again, this is absolutely written for high school, college students doing research on medical topics, not doctors talking to doctors. Because you can kind of see over here, you're starting to get into some pretty serious language there, and that's not our point. So we're going to click on lung cancer small cell. And again, eventually you're going to have to learn the precise name of your ailment. There's no such thing as just cancer, right? You got to figure out which cancer it is, what specific type, what stage probably. But you can see it's peer-reviewed, which is awfully nice. And you can kind of see it's a good source. It's going to go through the definition of the disease, the demographics, what it is, causes and symptoms. And that's kind of what you're going to be doing in your essay. It's kind of a process essay. Every illness you kind of start, feeling good, then something happens, and you got to go see a doctor, then you get diagnosed, and they do treatments, and then you get the results of the treatments, then you get your prognosis for the future. And everybody's essay is kind of going to get into that, but in different ways. For an ACL tear, it may have been I jumped up for the soccer ball and landed funny and pop, and down I went. For something like Alzheimer's, the diagnosing it, learning the difference, figuring out, she's not just forgetting things. She's got a serious problem here. Might take years. And again, something like Alzheimer's, you want to figure out how you're going to nail that down. That's one thing we'll start doing next week. But right now, you got a good source here, and I'm going to show you something really cool. When you get to the bottom, you're going to see additional resources, particularly additional websites like the American Cancer Society, other peer-reviewed things from the government. Lots of good additional resources, the kind of sources you want to use in this essay. And if you go on down, it'll also show you how to put this on your works cited page. All you have to do is come down here. We're in MLA 8th edition. So all you got to do is copy that, paste it into your essay, and you got your works cited page done. Then you're going to cite the source using the first word on your works cited page. Here, which would be Cherith, I guess that's how you say that. So these databases are awfully nice. One, they're good, they're peer-reviewed, they lead you to other sources, and they provide the works cited page citation for you, which is pretty cool. So that's what I want you to do for journal number 8, is get into the databases. Don't spend hours and hours and hours. Do what I just did. Go, figure out, you got to figure out what your topic is. Then go down to that topics thing if you want to. If you do the search, well, doesn't like hitting the back button. But if you do a search, make sure you're spelling it correctly. Some diseases are very difficult to spell, so make sure you're kind of doing that right, or it may not lead you to where you want to go. But you can kind of see, just coming down here to the browse topics and just clicking on those can be pretty easy to work with. That's all I wanted to show you. If you have questions, be sure and let me know. But you can kind of see on the schedule. Next week, you're just doing the journals, and then we're going to make sure you have a good narrow topic so you're not writing your first book, or you're not going down a dark alley. But again, you're telling someone's story, and you're putting the research into it. And again, it doesn't have to be life or death. I've had some very good ones on some fairly non-life-threatening diseases. So, kind of, you might also end up throwing 2 or 3 different topics at me, particularly in journal number 8. And I'll kind of go like, no, don't do that. That's bad. Or this one over here looks like a really interesting topic you can do in 1,200 words. But I'm going to get off here. If you have any questions, be sure and let me know. And we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.